Here's the thing about Germany, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Community, heart,
But the people that are there, the people that run Warner Brothers, are from the 60s. And these are some old gangsters, like straight up. These are old guys, okay? But their minds are young. And they're always looking for something new. This is why they are on top. Because you think, oh, this is some old guy, want to do it the old way. No, these guys are looking for masters. And they pay masters. If you can prove that you are a master of what you do. I perfected my art. How can we tell? How you speak about it. Can you perform it? Can you give me something? Show me that you are the master of your field. If you can show me you are the master of your field, you'll walk into Pixar and be like, yo, it needs to be like this, this, and this. And the head of Pixar will be like, here's your $25 million for your next movie. It's really that simple. What do you believe about yourself? There's no school to go to, there's no contract to sign, there's none of that. What do you believe about yourself? What is the story that you are telling about yourself? This is what creates your reality. This is what hip hop is. It's nothing else. We told a story. We sang. We said a hip hop, a hip hip, a hop. You know that dude that was on stage with me last night? His name is Lovebug Starsky. And I know he don't look like much, but that dude, out of his mouth, came the most powerful word on earth, hip hop. Imagine him and Busy P, they over there just cutting and scratching, having fun. He grabs the mic and says a hip hop, a hip hip, a hop, and that becomes a $10 billion annual culture global. He said last night, I wish I had a copyright. Because imagine if he did, hip hop would not be as large though. The only way it could be this way is if we all share it. And that's what Grandmaster Flash said when we was at the United Nations declaring hip hop an international culture. I said right there to Grandmaster Flash, why don't you get up and tell these people you created cutting, mixing, and scratching? He said, no, Kris, I can't, I'm not gonna do this. It's in all the books, everybody know it, but I'm not gonna. I said, what's up, Flash? Why are you not gonna do that? And he said unequivocally, because we give these arts freely to the public, freely. Imagine, this is Grandmaster Flash. He invented cutting, mixing, and scratching. He don't want to say it, but he did. The idea of cutting a record, the coordination between moving a vinyl record and throwing the crossfader over to hear it, pulling it back, pulling this over, that's Grandmaster Flash. Nobody was doing that before him. Nobody. But he's so humble. He just says, nah, I'm not going there with all that. Just, we gave it to the public. We gave it to our children. This is what it is. Imagine if the pioneers didn't do that. Imagine if they had the attitudes that we have today. I gotta own mine. I gotta keep everything to myself. This is mine. Where would the culture be? Where would we? No, well, this is what I want to impart onto you at the beginning of your hip hop training. If you don't care about the culture's not going to care about you. That's why a lot of dudes are stuck. You got to care about the culture for the culture to care about you. And when you show that care, the culture shows it back.
Teacher, excuse me, it's 10 more minutes.
Yes, sir. Keep me on time. So let me bring one other thing up. Thanks for that 10 minutes, because that's going to rush, that's going to speed me up. What did we just talk about? We talked about first culture. We talked about the transference of a certain feeling, a certain awareness that makes you hip hop. When you master your elements, it raises your self-worth. The reason I'm standing here right now is not just for you to listen to me, but I confirm the truth of what I'm saying. My life confirms the truth in what I'm saying, and it is repeatable. It is repeatable. Self-mastery. I had nothing. I mastered emceeing. When I mastered my craft, suddenly a homeless dude with nothing could now be on stage getting passed the mic by whoever. Master your craft, your value goes up. As intellectuals, here's a piece I'm going to leave you with. This is a summary of the knowledge. Some of this is online, but I'm giving it to you in this format because there's a lot of fluff online too. But Sun One is here as well, and those that would like to have the full knowledge of this, which is a written book called An Introduction to Hip Hop. Yeah, just make sure we have your email address. We'll send it right over to you. Okay, it's right over there, good. So everybody on that email address, I'm assuming, wants this knowledge. So if you're on there just for further knowledge, you might get something you don't need or whatever. But everyone on that email list is going to get what I'm about to say to you. What am I about to say to you? Here is what is getting paid for all over the world. I'm giving it to you now. I say knowledge is power. I'm going to give you a part of my power right now. I have to read it first. I just start this way. Here's what's known. The university wants facts, not your opinion. Your facts have to be backed up. It's called retrievable facts. So when you say, I'm a hip hop scholar, here's the first thing you start with. What is hip? Hip means to know. Hip don't mean nothing else. Oh, actually, your hips. Yeah, hips. Hip is also a form of depression. Hip, to feel hip. This is all English terms. We don't use these terms anymore. What we use is hip means awareness. I'm hip to this. Are you hip to this? Yes, hip. The last poets used to say hipping. Last poets hipping many cats, hipping many cats. Hip, to put you up on something. Hip, awareness. It comes from the African Wolof tribe. It was called hippie cat, H-I-P-I-C-A-T. Hippie cat. It meant one whose eyes are open, one who is aware of one's environment. This is ancient African. This is ancient. That Africans were calling themselves, or calling others who are aware, hippie cats. And notice the word cat. We've been calling ourselves cats, dogs, and other animals like lions and eagles long before America. Snoop Dogg has a long history behind it. Those that know about comedic knowledge go right to Jaluli. It's how you see hip hop that's going to determine how it responds to you. If you only see Snoop Dogg as, well, I'm just Snoop and I'm smoking that and I'm chilling. Well, that's your consciousness. Snoop declared himself a Rastaman. And he has to hold up to that principle. He went to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and got blessed right there in Jamaica. He can't front. Right? How do you see it? Well, let's keep it moving. Hip means to know. Hop, springing upward. A springing upward to go forward. Hop. Hip hop. Hip, consciousness, awareness. Hop, springing up, moving forward. Springing up to move forward. Consciousness, springing up. Awareness, leaping up. This is what it means to be a hip hopper. With an A on the end, H-I-P, H-O-P-P-A. Hip hopper, what does that mean? I am aware. I am aware of my movements. I am hip to my hop. I know why I move. I'm not moved by society. I'm not moved by temptation. I'm not moved by rumors and gossip and nonsense. I'm moved by my inner principles. That's what moves me. I am hip to my hop. I am aware of my movements. This is number one.
Knowledge of self.
That's all it is. Hip to my hop. Now move forward. To be hip means to be keenly aware. This is very important because we're dealing with a consciousness. We're dealing with a certain kind of consciousness when we say hip hop. When we say hip hop, we're dealing with a certain kind of consciousness. Not just consciousness, but a certain kind of consciousness. What kind of consciousness is that? Well, we say that Cool DJ Herc begins hip hop in 1973, which he does. But when you get into the scholarship of the words hip and hop, and then connect that to culture, well, hip hop begins at the birth of humanity. How do we know this? This is now moving you into paleoanthropology. This is again how you get into universities. Discussing hip hop as music ain't gonna do it, but discussing hip hop as paleoanthropology, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Here's now where you enter the university. How do we get to paleoanthropology? Well, take a look at our core four elements: breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJ. Just look at the core four. Breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJ. Breaking is dance. MCing, rhythmic language, rhythmic speech. Graffiti art, handwriting. DJing, the manipulation of nature, the cut, mixing, scratching of recorded objects, the manipulation, human mind on technology. That's DJing. Cutting, mixing, and scratching. Cutting, mixing, and cutting, mixing, and scratching in paleoanthropology is cutting, that's animal, that's clothing, that's surgical, that's cutting. Building even. Mixing, that's medicine, herbs, shamanism, when we used to know the forest, mixing. And of course scratching, that's electromagnetic energy and fire. If you take it out of music and apply our culture where it's supposed to be, you will see a great civilization emerge before your very eyes. We were there at the beginning. Why were we there at the beginning? Not because I say so. Take a look at the core four elements that we keep getting gravitated towards. We just keep going over there. Every university in the world knows now what is hip hop. Breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing. Go to any book, they'll have it right there. What is hip hop? An urban culture, mostly black and Hispanic. Go to Oxford, go to American Heritage Dictionary, go to any of these dictionaries. They're gonna give you rap, graffiti writing, and break dancing, as they call it. Why is that important? Because we're unique. We're unique in the world. We are unique. And when you have that uniqueness, you have political power. We just got to realize it. We have political power. We are a force in the world. We just got to realize it. So go forward. How do we know about pale? How do we know we was there at the beginning? Breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing. What did the first humans do? Go to any. Say again.
Utter. Spoken in word like sounds.
This is where you're going to be in the university. Because this is what they talk about all the time. If you go into Hindu language, one of the oldest languages, Sanskrit, one of the oldest languages that has a lot, that with Latin, is behind English and Spanish and German and French and Portuguese and all of these European languages. The Sanskrit is most of the Sanskrit is behind that. So we look at where does language come from, and I mentioned the Sanskrit because the Sanskrit is one of the oldest languages. They say that was originated from bird song. Early humans imitating birds create Sanskrit language. We got the language from birds. And they called it tweeting. This is 20, 30, 40, 50,000 years ago. MCing, rhythmic speech. Not just me talking like this, but me talking like this when I'm on the mic. That speech, that was the first speech. Rhythmically rhyming in spoken word. This is how we learned to speak. MCing is not just us rapping on the mic. This is a 1,000,000-year-old technique. Master it. The ability to speak in spoken word rhythmically. Okay? That's the first humans are doing that. The first humans are doing that. Graffiti writing. Do I have to go to the Bloomos caves of South Africa 80,000 years ago? Toulouse caves in France 30,000 years ago. Mayan art, Egyptian art. Take a look at it. Our culture is there too. To this day, scientists call the earliest human handwriting graffiti. Because that's what it is. And guess where graffiti came from? The animal world. You go to Chauvet Cave in France. 40,000 years ago, what they discovered in Chauvet Cave in France is they say the first scratchings on the wall were bear scratchings. Bears were scratching at the wall. They don't know why bears were scratching at the wall. Just bears were scratching at this one surface of the wall. Just one part of the wall. Then they said humans came after the bear scratching and they added to the bear scratching. And then one generation after another kept adding to that same thing, and that's how you get the buffalo that you see today. That's one theory. Another theory is too outrageous because they say the buffalo was drawn on the cave wall, horses were drawn on the cave wall, and it stayed that way for 3,000 years. Either generations kept doing the same identical art for 3,000 years, or whoever drew that lived for 3,000 years. But this is part of a longer conversation. Obviously, what I'm pointing out is this. Just on the paleoanthropology side, you can unite the earliest of humans with hip-hop's core 4 elements and be sound on it. You are actually intellectually correct. This is no make-believe, this is no make-up nothing. This is how you enter the university amongst other scholars who may have information that adds to this. You don't have to know the whole story, you just have to know yourself. Once you know yourself, you know the whole story. And everyone comes around to tell you further about your story. That's how I learned. That's how I learned. I didn't know the whole story, but through rapping and through MCing, I got a chance to travel. So I got into the caves. I went to Australia. I'm over there looking around. People are telling me stuff. The Aboriginals talk about breaking. Oh man, Aboriginals, 80,000 years. This is probably the oldest, next to the what they call the Xhosa people. Xhosa. I'm not even doing it. My mouth is too dry. Click language. Xhausa, the Xhosa people of South Africa, the oldest people on earth, next to the Aborigines in Australia, oldest people on earth. 70,000 years ago, they said they came to Australia, even earlier than that, but they got evidence for 70,000 years. They said, what was the first thing you did when you got here? They said, we danced. This is the first thing. He said, what was the first thing you did? Go back to your culture. What was said from the ancestors all the way up to right now? What did you do? We got off the ship and we danced. They said, what were you dancing to? He said, we were imitating the animals. They said the animals were dancing when we got off the boat, so we started dancing. And through the dance, we united with the nature of Australia. Through the dance. Breaking is not just breaking. Breaking is what freed the Angola people from slave catchers. Capoeira martial arts. Where the knives were put in the feet and the hands and the hair. And that backspin you did used to cut nets. and keep people off you. That spinning used to keep, that's where it comes from. Breaking today is just entertainment, but this used to be a freedom dance. This used to be what you did to get free, to get the net off you, to get the internet off you. You used to do your breaking. So the point here is this, I'm speeding it up now. Culture is the key. You raise your self-worth when you master your culture. But you gotta decide, what is your culture? Me? I know what it means to be black. I will always be black. I thank God every day He made me a black man. I love being black. You can't take that away from me. But when I look at my people, I'm also a philosopher, so I like truth. I'm a black philosopher. So when I look at African Americans, sorry, no. Sorry, that's not my culture. No, sorry. When we were coming up, it was African Americans that were against us. If we're gonna talk real, let me get this last piece out. Our parents were not with us.